Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Tour Pro Talks. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, today's session is just a wee bit different in its format, and I'll tell you how in just a moment. We're going to be talking about something every travel brand needs to get right, and that's the homepage. Specifically, how to write a homepage that hooks. So that's one that grabs attention, builds trust, and gently nudges your reader along the steps they need to take to book with you. So I am so happy to be joined today by my fellow travel and tourism copywriter, Susanne Michelus. Now, if you don't already know Susanne, her posts on LinkedIn are amazing. They are so packed with insights and value. So if you don't already follow Susanne, I strongly suggest that you do. I'll be asking Susanne to introduce herself in just a wee moment. But first of all, let me tell you a bit about what you can expect from today's session. We're going to start with some super brief introductions if you don't already know Susanne and I. Then we're going to walk you through the elements, the most important elements of a successful homepage. We're going to share some real life examples, a few that totally nail it, and some examples of not so good copy. But just to point out, we're not going to be naming and shaming any real companies because that wouldn't be very nice. And then finally, we're going to have Q&As at the end of the session. That's your opportunity to ask us anything you would like. So let's get started. And first of all, a very warm welcome to you, Susanne. Thank you so much for joining us. And would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you so much for inviting me, Jenny. I'm super excited to be here. Hello, everyone. I'm Susanne Michelus. I'm a conversion copywriter and content strategist for conscious travel brands. And I'm also the founder of Calmento Creative. I spent the last 15 years living on the tiny island of Kikoker in Belize, Central America. There, I ran a top rated boutique backpackers hostel hosting 30,000 travelers and earning TripAdvisor's Hall of Fame award. After I became a copywriter, so I can help you turn lookers into bookers. I'm obsessed with telling your story, what makes you stand out in your voice. Recently, I returned to the States. I'm near Boston along the East Coast.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Susanne. Well, with Susanne, as you can hear, you're not just getting somebody who talks the talk. Susanne has actually walked the walk and very successfully too. So if you are a Tour Pro Talks regular, you already know me, but just a very quick intro, because I don't normally speak much about myself on these episodes. I'm a travel and tourism copywriter and coach. I'm based in Shetland. I write travel and tourism copy for websites, blog posts, email newsletters. And I really love working with travel brands who want to tell their stories well. And though I do a lot of done for you copywriting, what I really love is helping people tell their stories. And through my coaching sessions, I give travel businesses the tools and confidence they need to write copy that feels like them. So that's a wee bit about me. And hello, just a very quick hello to some of our wonderful viewers. We've already had Charles from Vancouver. Hello, Charles. Deborah, also from Vancouver. We got a big Vancouver posse here today. Fiona. Hi, Fiona. And hi, hello. Hello, hi, and good afternoon from London. So lots of people already saying hello, which is absolutely lovely. So anyway, moving on. Now you know who we are. Let's get on to the good stuff, what you're all here for, what makes a homepage work. Because you know, the homepage is not just your welcome mat, it's your first impression, it's your shop window, it's your signpost, all rolled into one. And when it's done well, it can make the difference between people actually like sticking around or just bouncing off. So now we're going to walk through the key elements that every successful homepage needs: the words, the structure, and the strategy behind it. So Suzanne's going to lead with kicking it off with some of the key elements that she sees as essential. She's going to talk about two to begin with, then I'm going to talk about two, and we're going to go on like that until we've covered the key ones. So Suzanne, would you like to kick us off, please?
Sure. Your homepage has one big job, and that is to capture attention fast and guide your visitors, aka your readers, to the next step. And by fast, I mean something like 5 seconds. Show your readers they are in the right place and that your offer is worth their time. And before I jump in, let me say we never start writing until research is done. So, research is a very big part of the copywriting process. Then, when it comes to your website, your homepage, the very top part, the hero section, it's probably the most important part of that page. Grab attention with a strong headline. You want to highlight the biggest, most unique benefit you provide or the main desire that you cater to. And then take advantage of a subheadline where you can dig a tiny bit deeper, remove any doubt what you do and who it's for. And then after you have a call to action that is like, should be a bright button that tells your reader what to do next. If you want your reader to just scroll down and continue on your page, don't even use a word, just put a down arrow so your reader knows exactly what to do next. But for example, if you're a destination management company and you cater to B2C, but you're also looking to attract more B2B industry partners, place two calls of action and start segmenting your audience so they know what is the next step.
That's absolutely brilliant advice. Yeah,
What
because
would you like
obviously,
to add?
what would I like to add? I would just say that what you said there about making that headline very specific, that's absolutely key because that is really your chance just to really grab people, isn't it? And so much of writing that good, enticing headline is just knowing exactly who you want to attract. And that research part of it is so important, and so important that you research who you're actually speaking to, and really dig deep into that ideal customer that you're trying to attract.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's excellent because that is such an important part of your website. It's the first thing that people see, so it is so important. What would be your second key element, Susanne?
Um, The second big key element is your opening text, your body text below the hero statement. This is your first opportunity to connect emotionally with your reader. And here, start addressing what is happening in their life, what brought them to your side. Like in copywriting, we speak a lot about pain, but in travel, I would almost say, or I'm hoping, we are speaking to a desire. What desire or decision making process is your reader facing, and help them in their mindset? Let your reader know that, for example, you bring them to places that many dream of, but only few have ventured to. Make it special, but don't make it about you. Like a we statement, we are doing this, so you get A, B, and C, is not as strong as saying you will or you can. Make it reader focused. This is your value proposition here that explains the overall benefit your future traveler will get from working with you. It's a combination of your offer, who it's for, and why it has so much value to your reader. And your reader wants to know, do you get me? Will my needs and desires be met when I work with you?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely brilliant points there, Susanne. Thanks very much. And I think that what you're saying there about, when you're speaking like directly to the customers and you're empathizing and you're tapping into their dreams, it's so important as well to speak to the customers in the kind of language that they use as well. And this is where your testimonials, your DM conversations, or even your email inquiries can come in so useful. I mean, for example, if you've got a client who's messaged you saying we want to see more than just the typical tourist sites, then you can use that in your website copy. You say something like, you wanted to go deeper than the usual tourist trip. We're here for that, or something like that. So you're
Yeah,
reflecting their dreams back at them directly in their copy, in your copy, sorry. Now, Charles is saying, I'm updating our copy on Terrifique right now. Well, Charles, I hope you find this session very helpful.
I
Good
love
luck. If you've got any questions at all, Susanne and I will be sharing ways that we can support you at the end of this session. So thanks, Susanne, for kicking off so beautifully there with talking about the hero section and then the opening text. So I'm going to move on now to talking a little bit about another very important section of your homepage, and that's the mini about section. Now, you will have your about page, obviously, on a different page, but your mini about section can be part of your homepage, which again, you are letting customers build that sense of trust and getting to know you. It's a small section though, but it's very, very important because that's where you are answering your customer's question, because this will be the question that's at the back of your potential customer's mind. Why should they choose you? So what makes you different? What makes you special? So your potential customer will have other options in mind. So this is your chance to put yourself a little bit apart and to show what makes your offer different. So a really good way to do that in your mini about section is just to share a quick origin story, just a couple of lines that spark a little bit of curiosity or connection. And remember, Susanne's already made this point, but it's well worth revisiting and emphasizing. Even though this mini about section is about you, you should be using customer focused language. So use plenty of you and your. If you read your copy back and it's full of I or we, then try and tweak it so that you've got more you and your in the copy. Also, bonus points for this section. This isn't about words, but I mean, we can talk about it anyway. Very important, if you can, to include a picture of your face or your team, because faces are always going to build that sense of connection. So that's a little bit about the mini about section. Susanne, do you want to chip in at this stage at all?
I think you covered it. Like if you already mentioned your unique selling proposition in your opening headline, you can go a little bit deeper there. And I love how you pointed out, even though it's your mini about, always bring it back to your reader throughout your website, even though it's your website. Your reader is the hero of the story. And every piece of writing we put on the website needs to lead back to the hero, to the reader. Those are our heroes we are writing with our ideal reader in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is really the mantra that we need to keep with us all the time. You're writing with your reader in mind. Now, there's some great questions coming up in the comments, and I'm not ignoring you guys at all. But as I said at the beginning, if you don't mind, we're going to address these questions at the end. Mainly because I don't know about Susanne, but I'm a dreadful multitasker. And if we start to answer questions
Same
now,
here.
we'll just completely lose our focus, but we will be addressing questions at the end. But keep popping them in the chat, and we'll come along and hoover them up. Okay, so next section that we want to talk about today then is the part on your homepage where you start to talk about your core offers. So already, you know, you've hooked your reader's attention with an excellent headline in the hero section. You've started to build trust with your mini about page. You've shown that you understand your audience. So now it's time to start to guide your readers, to take them in a little bit deeper and show them what you actually offer. So this is where you start to show your core offers. And when I say core offers, I just mean highlighting 2 or 3 like curated offers, not your everything that you do, because that's just going to confuse people. And each of these offers that you choose should be laid out so that they link to a page that has like a fuller, more detailed description of them. So here you're really just piquing their curiosity, getting them to come in a little bit deeper. Now, headings are really important here, how you describe the offers. So for example, you know, if you have something just very bland and descriptive like Morocco tours, that's not really going to get their curiosity going. You want to maybe write something like step inside a Berber village in the Atlas Mountains or something like that, something that paints a picture and makes people really want to know more. I think a good way of doing it is just like have a gut check with yourself. Read over your core offers and think to yourself, would this really be interesting or compelling to someone who's just like scrolling past in 3 seconds? And if it's not, if it doesn't have that wow, tell me more factor, then you probably do need to revisit it. This is the part of your homepage where people start to make decisions. So make sure that they are clicking through at this stage and not clicking away. So Susanne, if you have anything else you want to say about that, please go ahead. And if not, do feel free to just carry on with the next sections.
Yeah, I loved what you just said. You covered it. I think let's move on to social proof.
Cool.
Social proof are testimonials. Those are words from your past guests that already had the real experience with you. And they are so powerful because someone else already lived a similar story that I'm dreaming about. So I love to go deep on social proof. And here on the homepage, this is your first chance. That said, I'm using social proof on every page that I'm writing. And again, social proof are full a full take of a testimonial that you received from a past text or from a past client, or it can be just a snippet. And it should go deeper than, let's say, a client writes you, I had a amazing vacation, period. Well, that's amazing, but it doesn't go very deep. It would be more impactful if, let's say, the client describes their favorite destination or their favorite restaurant, and they go deep how they remember the food, and they even remember what the table looked like and the chef came to the table. You really want to hear emotions in those testimonials because we believe in lived experiences. Someone else has done it and they are loving it, and I want to I want to do it too. So I'm including that on every page. And if you feel, oh, but my testimonials are not so strong, well, we are still going to use them. But then in the future, as you move forward, try to ask your travelers with more specific questions, because if you ask more specific questions, they will provide you with much deeper testimonials.
Mm-hmm.
What
Yeah,
would you like to add, Jenny?
I think I love that, what you're actually saying about collecting the testimonials. So that
Yes,
part where it goes a few stages earlier, because excuse my language, but polishing a turd, it's not really, if you've got rubbish testimonials, you can't make them look good. You have to really get good testimonials from the get-go. So asking very specific questions and testimonials that tell stories, because travel copy is all about telling stories. So somebody, talking about the highlight of their trip, watching the northern lights from their igloo, that immediately paints a picture. Whereas, as you said, Susanne likes to say, "No, I had a lovely trip." It just doesn't really have that same spark, does it? So
right.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, and moving on to, I think you've got another element you're going to talk about now, Susanne.
Um, if you would like to take a moment to
Mhm.
speak about like a newsletter sign up or the social media
Yeah,
logos.
absolutely. Yep, I'm happy to do that. That sounds like a good idea. Okay, I'm actually also having a look at time. So I think, yeah, I'll just speak about these next two things together, and then you can come back and then we'll move on to some examples. So I'll say
That
the
sounds
next
amazing.
quite quickly. And by the way, just if anyone's listening thinking, oh, there's too much information, don't worry, because this will all be summarized in the newsletter. So don't worry too much about taking notes. And you also, Susanne and I are totally happy to answer any questions. Anyhow, back to the key elements. So having an email sign up on your homepage is a really good idea, because a huge percentage, I'm not great with numbers, but like I think I read somewhere it was like 95% of people who come to your site for the first time aren't going to book. And you don't want them just to visit your homepage and then just to go away and forget about you. You want to get into their world, so they'll remember you, and you want to start building that relationship. So having an email sign up is a really, really good way of doing that. But we've all of our inboxes are swimming with emails, so you need to make it an attractive proposition. People aren't going to give away their email addresses for nothing. So this is where you maybe really need to hook them in with what's described as a lead magnet. So if you can create something like something nice you can give them in exchange for their email address, something they really want. So that could be, for example, a PDF with essential things they need to pack if they're coming to your destination, or it could be a sample itinerary, something really specific. Then that is going to give people a reason to sign up to your email list and to become part of your world, and make the headline enticing as well. Don't just say sign up to my newsletter. Why do they want to sign up? Give them a reason in the copy, make it specific, craft it for your ideal reader. Even less of a commitment than signing up to your email letter, but still keeping people in your world, is having some social media icons. Make them visible. Don't just tuck them away at the footers. Nobody's going to see them. Have your social media icons visible so people can follow you on Instagram or LinkedIn or wherever you are, for your content. If you've got like a really beautiful Instagram feed, then show it on your homepage, and that also just makes your homepage look really alive and really current, so people know that you were operational. Yeah, Yeah, and don't include, I've seen this happen quite a wee bit, but don't include like all the social media channels you're on unless you're really active on them. So just include like your best social media channels. You don't want someone clicking on your YouTube video and finding out you've got like one follower and one video. So yeah, that's a wee bit about email and social media. And Susanne, over to you.
Yes, I think I want to pick up on the word that you just used, operational. And that is something you need to remember in your footer, the bottom part of your page. There are many things I could say about footers, but we are running out of time. So make sure you still look operational. If your copyright in your footer says copyright 2017, it is not ideal because I will be wondering, are you still currently in business? You can say 2010 to 2025 or 2017 to 2025, but make sure it shows our current business here because it reassures me you're actually currently in business.
Brilliant advice and very, very important. I can't believe, Susanne, that the time is run away with us.
I know, I know.
This is crazy. This always happens. I think we've probably got some more elements of a successful homepage to share with you, but we are running out of time. So what we will do is, yeah, we'll be following up. We'll be sharing stuff in the comments. So do come and have a look in the comments. We'll be adding stuff to what we've said. I'm sure we'll be both be posting about this in days to come. Okay, so next, what are we doing? Yes, we're going to be very quickly, I think, giving a couple of examples. Let's start, Susanne, with examples of really good homepages that we both like. Do you want to kick us off with that?
Sure.
Susanne?
Let me give you one example. This is a destination management company, the Colombian Trip, clearly operating out of Colombia. And their hero statement says, feel like you're the only traveler in Colombia. And their subhead says, private tailor-made luxury travel revealing the country's treasures. This is excellent. The big headline, feel like you're the only traveler in Colombia, sounds like a big promise, but it was actually pulled from Voice of Customer. A past client used those words in a testimonial. So this was such a big lift promised. It made the headline, and then the subheadline tells you exactly what it's about. It's private, tailor-made luxury, the country's treasures. So if this is your desire, you know you are in the right place.
Yeah,
Back to
brilliant.
you, Jenny.
I love that example. It sums up so much of what we've been speaking about. Oh, I can't decide. I actually put a few examples and we've run out of time. I'm going to speak about a website that I'm a little bit obsessed with. I don't know if you've heard of this place, Susanne. It's called Camp Vega.
I have not. I have to look it up.
It's in the United States. I think it's in Missouri. I'm not sure exactly, but I keep looking at the website because I love it so much. It's like a place that does creative and artistic retreats. But what I love about this place, I'll put the link to it in the comments, is it totally knows its ideal customer, and it knows that its ideal customer isn't after luxury or a 5-star experience, and it speaks to its ideal customer while repelling all the people who might not love it in a very humorous and witty and specific way. So their tagline is not new, not improved since 1925. So it's really playing on the idea that it is kind of rustic. And also they have very prominently on their homepage, you'll see it if you go and have a look, it's got the manifesto of low expectations, which I think is absolutely wonderful. And it's all like, so you click on the manifesto of low expectations, and then it's all like, if you don't want to share your pillow with a ladybird, then, don't come here. Really, I just love it because it just repels. It's people who wouldn't want to go there so beautifully and funnily, but then it's really attracting its ideal customers as well. So yeah, some brilliant examples. Because we're running out of time, Susanne, I'm going to suggest we maybe don't speak about the examples that could do with more development right now. It's probably more important to move on to our questions. What do you think?
I agree, yes.
Okay, so we'll start here. This is a long one. Okay, Suhan Yugen, from my experience, an issue I've seen is that many travel sites feel more like a collection of standalone pages than a guided journey. Each page might say something nice, but they don't work together to actually move someone closer to booking. So, my question for you, Genevieve and Susanne, is how do you make sure your site tells a cohesive story that builds momentum and gets people excited to book, not just browse? Okay, that's a good question. It's a big question. Maybe a question that we need to go away and think about. What do you
Yeah.
think? Have you got any immediate answers, Susanne?
Be a question that needs some thinking. Top of my mind, I'd say when we write website copy, we lay out each page, like we create a funnel that reads the leader down a page, but it also leads the reader to other pages. And that is where the calls of action come in. A call of action is not just read more, it's view this itinerary, check the frequently asked questions. You want to lead the reader deeper through your calls of actions. So, calls of action require good copywriting. As I just said, it's not just read more, because what if I don't want to read more? Tell me what to do. And like, it's a mix between a call to action and a call to value. Sometimes I want to guide you deeper, but then I'm inviting you actively do the next thing. And it's not just book now. What is the benefit of the next step that you want me to take?
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant answer, Suzanne. So these calls to action are so important because that's really what guides us. And I think the question about sort of storytelling and having that like cohesive sense of branding is a really important one, Hang. And I think I'd like to come back to that because it is such an important question, isn't it?
Yes.
That he's a brand story. So that's maybe something Susanne and I can have a think about, and we can maybe discuss that a little bit more in the comments. But it's an absolutely brilliant question. We've got some good questions, but I must admit they're all quite thought-provoking ones. I don't know if there's any quick fixes or easy answers here. Deborah's asking, how do we share what we offer without giving away our secret sauce? We've had competitors take our playbook and use it as our own. Deborah, I've actually been working recently with a client who's got exactly this problem, and it's with a competitor who is actually living in the same place. So it's a complete nightmare. So I don't know if you've got any thoughts or answers on this, Susanne, or
That
um,
one takes a minute to think about.
mhm,
Um, Top of my head, I would say this is a great place to go back into your direct word of customer. What did you hear from your guests in your testimonials, in direct conversations? Because the competition cannot take the words that your customers said. Like,
mhm,
to overcome such a problem, I would probably have a one on one conversation with a former traveler so we hear their words.
mhm,
I'm
mhm,
not, competition is a big topic and a big research topic. I think to go deeper on that, we might even need another session, but I do need a little bit longer to dig into that question, Deb.
These are meaty questions for sure. Yeah, but I think that's a good answer, Susanne. Someone's actually, I don't know if you noticed, but someone has already requested another episode. So there
I
are calls
know.
for well. Yeah, I would agree with what Susanna said, and also just really ramp up the personal storytelling as well, because that was my suggestion with this client who was getting all of her ideas stolen. So the more you can double down into the kind of personal aspect, like say you've got like a really brilliant team, like a really say I'm not sure, Deborah, what services you offer, but say you're like a tour operator and your real strength lies in the expertise and the personalities of the people. Tell their stories, because then that's really hard to, it's a lot harder to rip off than just like an offer, if that makes sense. So yeah. Right. Here's a question from Charles. I think this will need to be the last question because we're really over time already. Sorry about that, and we will come and answer everybody's questions in the comments. Charles says, how do you write the About Us section to share your story while doing what you just suggested? I can't remember what we just suggested, Charles, but I'm guessing that you're maybe asking about how do we write the About Us section, sharing your story while keeping the reader, while keeping it very reader focused. Is that right? Feel free
I
to.
would think so, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So really, I think it's a case of, as I said earlier, it's a case of kind of reverse engineering it. So you're really putting yourself in your guest's shoes and kind of thinking about how their travel experience kind of intersects with your experience of delivering the service that you offer, and making them feel like they're seeing it from, you're putting yourself in their shoes and showing how they experience the service you offer. It is tricky, and it is something that a lot of people struggle with, but I think a simple tweak to begin with is just reading through the copy, doing a wee audit. As I heard somebody say once, if you have weed all over your page, you need to sort that out and change it so that you're adding in more yous and yours. And that's an instant fix that you can do. And that's just kind of almost like fixing just tweaking the perspective of the sentences a little bit. Susanne, do you have anything to add to that?
I totally agree. And I think what's also important, we do always want to be reader focused and make the reader the hero, but we also need to sell our services, making ourselves unique, just never forgetting the reader. So we still want to point out that we hold the golden key to unlock those local doors. Because this is a desire your traveler wants. They want to step into places where they don't have access to. So you can always do something like, you want to experience, and we hold the golden key so you can. Like, that's a little bridge. It points out what makes you unique, but it still keeps your reader as the hero.
I love that whole golden key thing, and just keeping your reader as the hero, and you are the guide. You are the, if you probably read the book by Donald Miller, the story, what is it called, story branding or something? I don't know if you've read that, Susanne, but it's all about how you're presenting yourself in your writing
Yeah.
as like the Obi-Wan Kenobi to the Luke Skywalker character, and the Luke Skywalker character is your customer. Or, if you take it any story, there's always like a guide. So there's like the Dumbledore to Harry Potter, or Gandalf to Frodo. Is it Frodo? I'm not very up on Lord of the Rings, but anyhow, so it's kind of how what role you play in the story.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, brilliant. We have completely overstepped our time. So, thank you very much. We've had a lovely, engaged audience today, which has been amazing. We're going to go to the comments now afterwards and see how we can help you. But very briefly, we're just going to take a moment to say how we can, if you want to get any more support from us, how you can go about doing this, how you can keep in touch with us. So, Susanne, do you want to go first?
Well, if you have any questions, reach out to me on LinkedIn or contact me through my website. I'm sure, Jenny, you will put it in the comments. I offer a free consultation call. Any questions that you have, pop me a line, and I'm looking forward to following up with you. Oh, and Jenny, thank you so much for having me here. I had such a great time. What an amazing chat. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's been amazing talking with you, and I hope we'll get to do it again. I think, as I said, I think there is a demand for another session. Maybe we could do the About page next time, or we could probably talk more about the homepage, to be honest, but we'll talk about that another day. Very briefly, everybody, if you want to, well, you've probably connected with me already on LinkedIn if you're following this. I've actually got a little something for you. Earlier on, I was talking about signing up to mailing lists. Well, I have also got a mailing list. If you'd like to sign up with it and keep connected and get more copywriting insights, I'd love you to join my club. I'll put a link to that at the top of the comments. And because I practice what I preach, you will get a free gift if you sign up. You will have noticed that today we spent a lot of time talking about the importance of identifying your dream guest. Well, I've got a private podcast called the Dream Guest Decoder, and you can have an episode completely free, and it comes with a questionnaire to help you really drill down and find out who your ideal guest is. So I shall share the link to that in the comments as well. Thank you so much, everybody. Huge thank you to you, Susanne, for generously sharing your expertise. And yeah, brilliant. Thanks to everybody, and see you again very soon for another Tour Pro Talks. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.
Thank you, Jenny. Bye.